This is our first segment of our discussion of American film from American media history. The author does a nice job, I think, of explaining the ascendancy of film during the 1920s to become the dominant American medium until the 1950s when television came on the scene. We are going to look at several stages of the development of film. Motion picture experimentation, storytelling, economic expansion, the addition of sound to motion pictures, and then the challenges to the industry that are going on even today. My intention is to take each segment as a short audio segment so it'll be easy for you to manage and follow. So this first part, motion picture experimentation. Well, George Eastman's Kodak Brownie came out in 1900, and just about everybody could take pictures if they could get a hold of a pretty inexpensive little camera. But the point of this is that in order for there to be any motion pictures, photography had to be well developed as a medium. So you had to have good solid photography before anybody could figure out how to make it look like those pictures were moving. Well, the idea that pictures were moving came from a theory by Peter Marc Roget, the persistence of vision with regard to a moving object. And what he did is explain the persistence of vision. He thought that an image moved away from an eye, stayed there for a few seconds, or a split second actually, but that the retina retained the image. Well, he was wrong. The image is retained in the brain, but nonetheless, the theory works. And so based on Roget's theory, there were a number of animating devices that were developed that were absolutely critical to the development of motion pictures. Because remember, motion pictures are really not pictures that are moving. They are still frames that are moved at a speed that makes it look to us like the things that we're viewing are actually moving. So the first motion picture was in 1878 by Edward Muybridge. He took a picture of a horse running because he had a bet going with Governor Sanford of California that actually the horse's hooves came off the ground all at the same time while they're running. And so he was doing an experiment to win a bet. He really had no intention of laying the kind of groundwork for motion pictures that he did. If you want to have a look at it, here's the YouTube link. It's only about 16 seconds. So Thomas Edison, we'll see that Thomas Edison was a giant when it came to virtually any type of invention. I mean, we know him for the light bulb, but he actually had more than 1,000, close to 1,100 patents by the time he finished his life's work. And by the way, the favorite invention of his was the phonograph. So we'll see that he was interested quite early on in bringing sound to motion pictures. But he did develop a movie machine called the kinetoscope. It was coin-operated peep show cabinet that had a continuous loop of film, and so people could pay and stand and look in this cabinet and see things that looked like they were moving. Absolutely fascinating. Edison wasn't really impressed. He didn't like it that much, and so he didn't pay the $150 patent, which haunted him because any number of scientists took his idea and changed it to their own invention. One of those was Robert Paul in England, who came up with a hand-cranked portable camera. Another was Thomas Armat, as you can see down in the lower half of this frame, Edison jumped back into the race with Thomas Armat, and the two of them presented the Vitascope in 1896. But just a few weeks later, he re-presented his kinetoscope, and it was so powerful, something that was so new to people that as the images of waves rolling and trains coming right at them, people actually ran for the exits. Now just remember that that might seem kind of funny to us, but people were not used to seeing things on a screen look as if they're actually coming toward them. They weren't used to seeing things pretending to move. And so it took a while for human beings to get used to the idea of motion that was actually not moving. So let's go back up though, because the primary competitor of Thomas Edison were the Lumiere brothers in France. They invented their own version called the cinématographe. And they went around France recording all kinds of everyday happenings, from trains again to people playing on the beach to children playing. And they were the first to show a motion picture on a large screen to a paying audience in December of 1895. So actually there has been quite a bit of back and forth about who was the inventor of motion pictures, and many people would lay the credit at the feet of the Lumiere brothers. In the next segment, we'll move on to our next component of storytelling in motion pictures.